I feel like an idiot because I recorded this entire episode earlier and it was so good. And I forgot to put this fucking microphone in front of me, so it sounds awful. So, let's go around. I'm going to look at what I had previously said. We're going to see how this goes. Hey there, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Kayla, and I've been recapping my month-long trip to Europe, and today we're going to talk about Verona. So I want to start off by saying I'm going to mispronounce a lot of names, but I will make sure that I spell them correctly in the transcript. So if subtitles are on, it'll be spelled correctly so you can copy and paste it. My last episode was about Venice. From Venice, we then went to Verona. So this entire trip was about going to Lake Garda, specifically for a wedding, which we will get into in the next episode. But we went to Verona before getting to Lake Garda because there's not really an easy public transit way to get to the specific place that we needed to go. And Verona was the closest train stop. So we were in Venice. We stayed at the JW Marriott. That was great. We had a late checkout. We ended up leaving at 1 o'clock. We slept in, which was really nice, and then took a taxi to the train station. So as a reminder, in Venice, everything's a boat. So we took a taxi that was a boat from the hotel to the train station. It was 110 euro. Not inexpensive, but I'm a bougie bitch. And I will pay for convenience. So here we are. I paid the 110 euro and it was a vibe. It was a half hour. We got to the train station with time to spare. Really, it is something I would do again. Taking those private transfers from the airport to the hotel and then from the hotel to the train station really just elevated the experience even more. So then we got on the train. We were in premium class going from Venice to Verona. It was about a 2-hour trip, and it was hard to find a place for our luggage because everybody and their mother had giant suitcases. Now, we each had a carry-on size rolling bag and a backpack. It was very easy for us to navigate the trains because of our suitcases, but then it was made very difficult for us because of the other people who didn't understand what they needed to do with their things and were traveling as heavy as they possibly could. So we were able to get our stuff onto the train, but keep that in mind that you may run into these issues if you're taking trains in Europe. You may run into these issues if you are flying and you're one of the last people to board. They may say, you got to actually check your bag now. So, it's just something to keep in mind. But we got to Verona around 3 o'clock. We were staying at the Moxy Verona, literally outside the train station. And I know that you're probably thinking, ooh, the train station, it's probably so loud. Couldn't hear it. Could not hear it. I'm sure that there were other rooms that probably could, but we were not on the train side of the hotel. We were on the other side. So we couldn't hear anything. We had a view of the parking lot. It was a city view. So that was fun. But it was about 10 or 15 minutes to get to the center of the city. So not too bad. But you did have to cross a busy street twice to get to the city. So you had to cross essentially the lane of traffic that came from the train station. So that was a main throughway. And then you also had to cross the off-ramp of the freeway. So didn't love that. And there's not really any shade on that walk, or specifically on that crossing. The walk itself is mostly shaded once you do the crossing. The rest of the walk is in shade or you're up against buildings. But the walk from Moxy to crossing the street, not shaded. So keep that in mind. If it's 90 or 100 degrees outside, that may not be a great time. So we really liked where Moxy was. We really liked staying there. Moxy is a brand that is known for being very minimal in the things that they do. The rooms are small. I would say it's sort of hostel adjacent. You are going to have your own room. You're going to have your own bathroom, but there's really like a common space downstairs, and that's where they want you to spend your time. And the front desk is actually also a bar. They serve you a welcome drink when you come in. Like, they're all about socializing and like building that sort of community within the hotel, which I think is really great if you're a solo traveler. I've stayed in Moxy's as a solo traveler. I've stayed in Moxy's with Brian, and I think that they're a great location if it's just two people and you're not really spending very much time in your room. I think if you're the type of person who is needing to get some work done while you're in the room, or sometimes I want to be really introverted and just like hang out in my room, this is not a hotel for that. But we really liked it, thought it was great. The location was great, especially getting to the train station. That was really nice. So as soon as we got to Verona, we dropped off our bags and we started exploring. And now I'm going to start mispronouncing things. So there was a place in my map that I was like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Let's go. It's called Terrazza Bar al Ponte. It's on the river. You can see the castle. I came in and they immediately said the terrace is full. I'm like, okay, well, can we sit inside? Because there's nobody sitting inside. I was like, is inside okay? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. And if a spot on the terrace opens up, we'll move you there. Perfect. Sounds great. So we ordered charcuterie. We got a bottle of the house white, I believe. Yeah, we did the house white and just enjoyed the inside. We were about halfway through our charcuterie and wine when a spot did open up out on the terrace. They said, do you want it? At this point, another couple had sat down also waiting for the terrace. And I said, yeah, we want it. So we got to enjoy sitting out on the terrace. That was really great. It was €35 total for the wine and the charcuterie, which if you were in the States, you'd be paying that for just one or the other. And here we were getting both. So that was really great. The staff was really wonderful. They clearly enjoyed their jobs, which, you know, makes it so much better of an experience. And we'll say the one thing to keep in mind is that people smoke a lot more in Europe than they do in the United States, or at least a lot more than they do in the urban United States. So if you're on a patio or a terrace or anything like that, there will be ashtrays and people around you will likely be smoking. So if that's a thing that bothers you, you probably won't want to sit outside. But this wasn't the only place that we had that experience. This happened at coffee shops. This happened at restaurants. I just want to make sure that you're aware that that is a thing that happens in Europe. Like, everybody's vaping. Everybody's got their pack of cigarettes. You honestly smell a lot more marijuana in the United States than you do in Europe, because it's still highly regulated in Europe and like not legal most places. So they do have their cigarettes and their vapes. So just keep that in mind. So after we were done there, we walked across the river and took the funicular up to Castel San Pietro, and that was beautiful. We didn't go in or anything. There is a bar at the top when you come off the funicular. We didn't get a drink because we just had half a bottle of wine each. So we took a bunch of pictures. It was sunset-ish time, like the sun was starting to go down, and that was beautiful. And then we decided to walk back down because it was like $1, I think, to go up. So we were like, let's walk. Because the sun was setting, the staircases were mostly in the shade, which was really nice. Then we decided to go back to the hotel because we were really tired. And we were like, let's get drinks, because we had a food and beverage credit that we got every day at the hotel. And we sat down at the bar. We each ordered a drink. And I asked the bartender, like, hey, where would you suggest that we get something to eat if I wanted to have delivery here? First, I asked what delivery apps you guys use. And then I downloaded one of them because, yeah, I could use Uber Eats, but I wanted to see what other options there were. So he suggested a place called Nosh. And I specifically said, what do I get? Because everything looks good. And he said, well, I usually get the popcorn chicken and the pad thai. That's what my girlfriend and I do. So that's what I did. And it was good. I am very particular about my pad thai. I've been going to the same place for pad thai since before I was born. It's called Saya. It's in Kent, Washington. It's wonderful. If you're ever in the Seattle area, you absolutely should stop by Saya. But I got the pad thai. We got the popcorn chicken. Brian was like, I'm not that hungry. I'll just have a bite or two. He inhaled the popcorn chicken. It was good. I had a couple bites of it. It was good. The pad thai was surprisingly good for being in northern Italy. I was like, am I going to regret this decision? I'm just not sure. But I was pleasantly surprised by that. So that's what we had. Then at that point, we went to bed. But I do want to just say, sort of to this point, if you are around locals and those locals have suggestions for you, I really think you should at least hear them out. I love to ask people, where do you suggest I go? What do you think I need to see? What do I need to order? And I did this so much on this trip, and I was so pleasantly surprised by the things I discovered that I otherwise would not have discovered. No, I'm not saying that nosh was like, oh my God, the best thing I've ever eaten, but it was good. So that was the end of that day. Then we went and got coffee that morning at Caffè Bossari, I believe is how it's pronounced. Hold on, I got to scroll through and see. Yep, Caffè Bossari. So we each had espresso. We just like drank it at the counter. That was really great. And then after the coffee, we went and got sandwiches from Focacceria La Figaccia. Again, don't know if I'm saying that right. But the sandwiches were great. The espresso, we literally just stood at the counter, drank our espresso. It was €3. We were in and out in a couple of minutes. That was really fun. So did that. Then wandered around a little bit, looked at shops, didn't buy anything, but just wanted to get a feel for things that we might check out the next day because we had hours until our ride from Verona to Lake Garda. So at 2:30, we met a group at a theater in the center of Verona. The group was a Canadian couple, a German couple, Brian and I, and 3 guys from England. And we had a really good time. We were all similarly aged. We were getting to know each other. Everybody had somebody that they were there with to just sort of like vibe with. And we went to the Valpolicella region. I think I said that right. I'm not positive. It's a wine region that's very well known around Verona. So we had Amarone and some other reds. We went to 2 different wineries. The first one was a really small operation, 2 brothers. They've been making wine for generations. Really cool. And then the second was slightly larger, really beautiful artwork, really well curated experience. And both of them were really great. We got some wine from both wineries, had a good time. Didn't really have a ton to eat, but that's okay because we were doing dinner later on. But before dinner, we got back, our tour guide dropped us off, and the whole group, we decided to go get drinks at the piazza. Like we found a restaurant, sat down, everybody got something to drink. There was some charcuterie on the table. It was great. And then Brian and I got up and had to go because we had our dinner reservation. So that was really fun. I love doing wine tours. We actually did 2 on this trip. We did one in Verona and then we did another one later on in the trip. And the dynamic of these tours is so fun. And like, I'm the kind of person that I make friends everywhere I go. It's honestly kind of a problem. And it was just really nice. You're like drinking wine, you're enjoying it. Obviously, everybody that's on the tour likes wine, so you have that in common. It's a good time. I enjoy it. I would recommend it if you like wine. Do a wine tour, see what you think. So we ended up having dinner at Caffè Monte Baldo. It has a longer name than that, but that's what we're going to call it for the sake of simplicity. So we did a risotto that was actually made with the wine that we had had earlier in the day, like that style of wine. And it's what they're known for in the region for their risotto. We had a bottle of wine with it. We did a dessert trio, and then we had espresso. And it was so good. It was such a fantastic meal. It was very much like a traditional Italian place. Like they had their stuff written on the board of what they were serving for the day. The vibes were really cool. The risotto itself was fantastic. I could have licked that plate clean. And it just felt like a really authentic Italian experience. Really, really enjoyed it. Highly recommend if you're in Verona, checking out Caffè Monte Baldo. And then we got back to our hotel just after midnight. We knocked out. Woke up the next day. We didn't need to leave until about 4 o'clock. So we spent the day exploring. We got some shopping done. We ate some food at a restaurant that, again, was recommended to us. We went shopping at a place called Scout, which I really liked. If you're in Italy, Scout is a very fun store. It's sort of PacSun in the 2000s, Zoomies-ish. I liked it a lot. So she was like, I'd go right down the street to this restaurant. And we did. And it was great. We had a good time. And just, again, I love to just ask for recommendations like that. But ultimately, I mean, Verona was amazing. It was probably one of my favorite destinations that we traveled to on this trip. And compared to Venice, it is significantly more affordable. Doing the wine tour was great. Sitting out on that terrace with the charcuterie and the wine was fantastic. I mean, just all in all, it was a really good experience. It's so easily accessible by train, even if you're just going to do a day trip from somewhere else, or you're going to be like us and add it as part of your trip in a bigger, like Italy trip or bigger Europe trip. It's really great. But our next episode is going to be going to Lake Garda and what that looks like, and getting to Lake Garda. I'm going to talk about the beautiful wedding that I went to, and really just, if this is exciting you and you're like, oh my God, I have to go to Italy, reach out to me. I would love to talk to you more about this trip, about my experience in Italy. I've been to Italy a couple of times. This wasn't my first trip. This was Brian's first trip though. So just reach out. I have recently moved everything consolidated to one website. So it's all KaylaReneeTravel.com. And so that's KaylaRenee travel.com. So you'll find my travel agency information. You'll find my podcast information. If you want to get a hold of me, that's a great place to do it. I've actually been writing blogs about this entire trip as well, if you want to sort of dive deeper into all of this. And, you know, I'm really excited. I really love Europe. This trip was great. It's been really fun sort of recapping things. I'm also recapping it on my social media. So next week, we're talking about Lake Garda. And until next time, let's just go.